a series of events started happening in my life. Remember that anti-gun initiative, 1639, that passed in 2018? Yeah. That limited, it banned, in fact, 18 to 21-year-olds from buying a semi-automatic rifle. Military age young adults, if they already owned one, they couldn't leave their own property with it. And not only that, but it made potential felons out of otherwise law-abiding citizens. If you had a criminal break into your home, steal a firearm, and go out and commit a crime with that firearm, you as the homeowner could be charged with up to a felony for what that criminal did. I was asked the day after that passed by citizens if I was going to start arresting 18 to 21-year-olds who I saw with a semi-automatic rifle. My answer to them was no. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah! Yeah!
Because I took an oath of office to uphold and defend the Constitution. And everybody knows what the Second Amendment says, right?
Right.
But the Washington State Constitution is even more explicit. Article 1, Section 24 says that the right of the individual citizen to bear arms in defense of himself or the state shall not be impaired. And I was not going to violate my oath of office. And I was not going to violate their constitutional, God-given.
Amen. Amen. Yes, sir.
Now that could have been any of the rights, any citizen's rights, right? It just happened to be about firearms. If it limited free speech, if it limited peaceably assembling, I would have stood up the same way. All of our rights are given to us by our Creator. And they are guaranteed by the government, by the Constitution, right? I feel that anyone that wants to take your rights away from you, something that God gave you, is evil. And I will stand up against that any day. It doesn't matter if it's firearms or free speech or peaceably assembling. That led me to being on the national news. It was an anomaly, apparently, for a public servant to stand up for and uphold and defend the Constitution in their oath of office. So I was on the national news. I was on Tucker Carlson and Fox and Friends. Yeah, we like Tucker Carlson, right? And I was talking about making the stand that I did, and why I did it, by what authority I did it. And I thought that there would be chiefs of police and sheriffs all across this state standing up for citizens' rights the way that I did, but at first that didn't happen. There was a couple, that was it. And I thought, what in the heck is going on? They took the same oath that I did. They've read the same document, I assume, but there was only a few. So I thought the only reason I could come up with was that we are all a product of the public school system, right? And we're not taught the things my parents taught me about the rule of law, that we are a republic, a government that is ruled by the law, and public servants take an oath of office to uphold and defend that, and that means something. That's a promise. And so in the month of December 2018, 2 years ago, I wrote a book called Loren Culp. And it was published on President's Day of 2019, and it went to #1 on Amazon in multiple categories. It was a #1 best-selling book on the Hot 100 New Books list for weeks. And I talk about in that book about our rights, about our responsibilities, about the duty of public servants to stand up for citizens' rights. Because in the Washington State Constitution, Article 1, Section 1, says that the power is inherent in the people and government is there to protect citizens' rights. How cool is that, right? When the founders of Washington State got together and said, hey, let's form Washington State, well, let's write up the rule book. That's the first thing they wrote. The power is inherent in the people and government's there to protect citizens' rights. Amazing. And so that book going to #1 led me to being invited around Washington State to speak at Republican Party Lincoln Day dinners and sportsman shows about our rights, about everything that I wrote in the book, everything I've been talking about. And so every weekend I was traveling around this state talking to citizens groups about what we needed to do to stand up for our rights. And that led to people coming to these events, hearing me speak, read American Cop, and people started asking me to run for governor. And as it went into the summer of 2019, more and more people were coming out to hear me speak, and more people were asking me the same thing. You know, run for governor. We have to get rid of Jansley. We need somebody to stand up for our rights. And so in July, I took that seriously. Talked to Barb about our 7 grandkids, our 2 sons that live here. And I didn't see anybody that was running or anybody on the horizon that I could trust to stand up for rights like I did back in 2018. And so I jumped in with both feet and threw my hat in the ring as a candidate for governor.